I don't know, there's a number somewhere between 0 and 2.6 at the end of the day that they're going to need to agree on, and it's probably not going to be 2.6, and it's not going to be 0.
But you've seen the outlines of the legislature's budget. Do you see compromise in there? Does it make it more or less likely that you're going to be here in July?
Well, I mean, this just, I think, reaffirms where they were at on the campaign trail, that they're going to put an all-cuts budget together, and they've done that. This is, I guess, what we all expected they would do. It's what they said they were going to do on the campaign trail. Governor Dayton did what he said he was going to do on the campaign trail with a fourth tier on the income tax. So I don't think any of us should be surprised about where we're at this point in the session.
So you do consider this an all-cuts budget?
That gets the whole thing. It's cuts in the state part, but, you know, for renters, it's $105 million in tax increase, period. That's in the bill. It's not that the local governments can do that. It's also the estimates from Department of Revenue and legislative nonpartisan staff say it's going to raise property taxes by $300 million some dollars. The reality is those are tax increases, but yes, the way they talk around here, those are all cuts. But to the renter who's paying their taxes, today's bill actually has a provision in there directing the commissioner to notify people when their refunds come back that the legislative action is what caused it to go down. So in effect, we're going to tax you more. It depends how you define cuts. I mean, tax increases, when they say no tax increases, they've meant property taxes, other things are okay. But using their rhetoric, it's all cuts. Using real people language, taxes are going up.
Well, I think the question is back to the fiscal notes on some of the provisions. I mean, saying you want to do tax compliance and bringing in some private vendor that says they can raise you $140 million is just reaching for blue sky. The department, that's not the department's number. I think the same is true in Health and Human Services. The idea that we're going to apply for a federal waiver and then score $300 million of savings because we presume the federal government's going to give us that waiver, that's not real money. What if the federal government doesn't give us that waiver? I mean, it's not, it's phony. And it's an all-cut budget if you assume that all of their presumptions are accurate. But historically here, the legislature has always worked on fiscal notes prepared by the Department of Finance. Now we call them MMB. This budget doesn't do that. And I think that's a problem.
And that's a waiver from the requirement that we provide the care, is that correct? So basically it's permission to provide less care, is that correct?
That's bottom line what's happening. Sometimes they might be able to afford it if they have money they don't have. The reality is people are going to be denied care, and I'm not sure the federal government is likely to give those waivers. If I had to guess, I'd say they won't. But
you know, Senator Marty, how about if we just apply for a waiver for $3 billion?
Yeah, I mean, you could balance the budget quickly by just saying we're not going to do this stuff. Well, first of all, I don't think it's a policy the state wants to do, and even if the state did want to do it, I don't think the federal government would allow it. So it is funny money in that sense. The tax bill doesn't have funny money. It's just raising taxes on renters and homeowners.
So what is your assessment of Republican leadership's claim that all these bills were going to be full of reform? Have they delivered on reform? Or?
If reform means higher property taxes for homeowners and renters, they delivered on that. I don't know that that's reform, though.
Well, I don't see reform. I mean, they're just numbers on a spreadsheet. So you cut local government aid and you cut the market value credit. Those aren't new programs. They aren't changing the formula the way money gets distributed. That's how I would think of reform. Is they're going to make some formulary changes in the way money is allocated, and that's not happening in the Senate bill.
Do you have a bird's eye view yet of the budget that will be released on Friday, and what are you most anticipating in the next 48 hours?
The budget on Friday.
What the GP will release?
When we get them all out of committee? I don't know if you've had an overall look. I mean, I think we're each seeing the ones in the committees we're on, but I don't know if we put a look of the whole picture together yet.
Well, I don't think we have it. The Health and Human Service bill is what, coming out today?
It just started. That's what we've been looking at.
So, but I don't know. I mean, I think the original target in the Health and Human Service bill was what, a $1.6 billion